We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIN, and now in Richmond, San Francisco Bay Area, and Oakland on the Internet. So, Clay, what did you think of Nancy Phillips?
That's a fantastic program.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in that. I wish I could participate more. I did it a couple of times, but right now with my business, it's tough to participate.
Yeah, it's funny. I give him about 2 hours a week. 2 hours a year. It's about all I can really afford. But it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. So we're going to take a little turn to your favorite subject, medical.
Obamacare.
Yeah, not that it's in the news much. In fact, we're going to be talking a lot about Obamacare in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have Sally Pipes on. We're going to have Wayne Root on. Barry Goldwater Jr., I know, wants to talk about it. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on Obamacare.
It's an interesting subject. We're going to see what's going to happen as of, I think it's this weekend. The websites ought to be up and running around the nation.
That's right. And you and I have been, kind of in the forefront of this, talking about what's going to happen for the last couple of years. And unfortunately, it's panning out the way we said it was going to. So
it's not even as good as what we thought.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to take a little bit of a different twist with it today. Our in-studio guest, a fellow Canuck.
That's correct.
Dr. Mensink, to talk about The Practice. Doctor, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Let's let him pronounce his real name now.
Mensink.
You're good at screwing up names. Go ahead, Doctor.
Is it Mensink?
Well, I'm Dr. Mensink.
Mensink. Ah, okay.
It's not Ray Charles. It's Dr. Mensink.
Okay, I got to explain this again every time he does this to me. We had Ray Stevens on a couple years ago. Do you remember Ray Stevens?
Yes.
Well, during the break, I called him Ray Charles by mistake.
Oh, boy.
And Ray had just recently passed on.
Which one?
Yeah.
Anyways, so, Doctor, tell our listeners what The Practice is.
Well, I've had this dream for about 12 years, and about 2 years ago we opened what's called The Practice. Mm-hmm. It's what's modeled after a direct payment care practice. That's the business model, and it's sort of like a prepaid legal plan. You pay us $69 a month, and you come as often as you want for free. And we have a lot of discounts on medications, on imaging, lab, things like that. And I think we have 18 doctors with us, specialists working with us now. But it's more of a philosophy of medicine. It's sort of like going to your family doctor from 40 years ago. And what we've done is we've tried to make a practice where our model or our modus operandi is cost-effective quality care. Everything is built on that. And it's amazing what's happening.
Is this what you would call concierge medical?
It's built after that. We call it concierge medicine for the common man. It's concierge in the fact that we have the way we schedule, things like that. We do a lot of extra things for patients we don't charge for. We have our scheduling. We see patients within 3 business days. We don't have long waits. We see probably 40% of our appointments on same-day appointments.
And there's no charge when they come into the office. It's just a flat $69 a month, correct?
Flat $69 a month.
And that's for all services, all in-office services?
Well, that's not quite that. It's for the doctor's time. Okay. All right, but in office things like, for instance, if you need a urinalysis, I did a urinalysis on a patient this morning. A regular urinalysis is $12 to $14. We charge $2 for that. Our costs for that cup, that dipstick, that little machine to read the urine test.
What about blood work?
Our blood work, we use what's called PAL laboratories, physician automated labs, and our rates are about a third the regular rates.
Wow, how come?
Well, we essentially negotiate with them, and we get Medi-Cal rates or a little bit better than that. And our patients pay cash up front for that.
Okay.
We have a very open policy so far as labs and X-rays and things like that. When you walk out of the office, on the lab slip, it tells exactly how much that patient's going to be charged and what the draw fee is. They know when they walk out, this is going to cost me $12, $7, whatever. All right. And so it's a sort of a philosophy of very open pricing. They know right away what it's going to be.
Hospitalization, how does that work if someone has to go into the hospital for surgery?
Well, it depends on what none of the hospitalization is covered. This is all the practice for the $69 a month covers is your visit to the office. Now we have,
but that's extensive, the visit to the office.
Oh yes, this is top quality medicine. This is not like some practices. This is top quality medicine we do. But it depends. When you ask about hospitalization, it depends if it's an emergency or not. I'll tell you a story. There was a little boy, a little 21-year-old gentleman a patient of ours. Well, before he was a patient of ours, he had a large hernia, inguinal hernia, and he lived in the area. He goes to see 3 different surgeons, and he gets prices between $18,000 and $28,000 to fix it.
Wow.
He doesn't have it, okay? And this was at a surgery center. He joined the practice, paid the $69 a month. One of our surgeons, a general surgeon in town, did the surgery at one of the hospitals, San Joaquin Hospital. Surgery, medicine, anesthesia, everything was $3,600. But he had to pay that upfront cash.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a fraction of the price.
Sure.
Now, we don't have everything, but...
Our in-studio guest, Dr. Mensink from The Practice.
You don't have everything, but at the same time, you have gone out and negotiated discounts with several different type of organizations. Prescriptions is an example, correct?
We have our own prescription plan. We use a local pharmacy in town that we partner with. You can go anywhere. We don't tell everybody where to go, except for narcotics and scheduled drugs. We make them sign a pain contract and go certain places. But other than that, you can go anywhere. And we probably 90% of our prescriptions are done at either our pharmacy or Walmart or Costco.
Now, on the prescriptions, though, the cost is the same as if you had regular insurance?
No. The philosophy behind the practice is cost-effective quality care.
Right.
Probably 95% of our prescriptions are generics. All right?
Okay.
We follow with what's called the United States Preventive Services Task Force recommendations, which for the common illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, all these things. There's set recommendations by the boards and the CDC. We follow those fairly religiously for several reasons. Number one, it's top quality medicine. Number two is that it's cost effective. For hypertension, for instance, the number one drug, if you're a non-black, for hypertension is a water pill. That's 4 cents a pill. I mean, it costs $4 on a Walmart drug list. If you look at how many people who've never been on diuretics, because we have all these drug companies peddling expensive drugs, and there's nothing wrong with expensive drugs, and we use them if we have to, but we start with the most cost-effective quality drug that we can.
Now, is this an organized, licensed type of business?
We have a business license like everybody else.
No, this is an up-and-coming type of thing.
Oh, as a direct primary care management practice?
Right.
Yes. This is we belong to an organization that is a global direct primary care practice model. A lot of these companies, many of them are modeled more after the concierge for high-end, for expensive care. Ours is a concierge practice for the common person.
Now, when you, Clay, both of you mentioned concierge, I'm not familiar with that term. What do you mean by a concierge program?
If you'd go anywhere once in a while, you'd find out a concierge is someone that directs you and helps you.
No, I mean concierge as far as medical.
Well, there's concierge practices.
Clay.
We have them in town here, and they're the classic examples. You spend thousands of dollars per year, maybe $5,000-$10,000, and some of them even higher than that. And the doctor is at your beck and call, and there's no long waits. You'll see you whenever, and there's top quality medicine and all that. What we've done is make a concierge practice for the common person.
Okay.
All right.
What we're seeing around the nation, we're seeing more and more doctors setting up concierge practices, and I think we're seeing more and more practices like The Practice that are coming into play nationwide for the general blue-collar type worker.
Clay, when I started 2 years ago, in fact 4 years ago, when we started getting ready for the for the business stuff and setting up the malpractice issues, things like that, my malpractice company had never heard of our type of model. It didn't exist so far. They spent 9 months canvassing all the major carriers, saying, have you ever heard of this model? What is your loss ratios? And nobody had heard it. And we were probably one of the first to start.
Wow.
Today, right now, there are 5,000 practices like ours in the country, and they estimate next year 10,000. It's growing logarithmically because it's the most cost-effective quality care way of getting medicine care today.
Does Obamacare have an effect on this? Is it driving it?
Yes.
Let's get into that in the next segment, because I've got some issues I want to talk about with The Practice and Obamacare and how they'll coordinate together.
Well, in that case, we have a minute left. Do you have another question for him before we go that direction?
Well, not really. I want to get into the Obamacare situation because Dr. Mensink has really brought something to Bakersfield that we've never had in Bakersfield before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting because we've had people saying that we're going to go broke with Obamacare. We had people saying we're going to do fantastic, and the truth is we are doing fantastic because of Obamacare. It's the best thing that ever happened to us.
And growing like crazy. The practice is growing like crazy.
Yeah, we are now the largest direct primary care practice in the nation.
And you have also brought in several doctors to work with you.
That's correct.
So your practice is the largest
from what we
of its kind.
Yeah, one of, and probably the largest.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you guys place a lot of emphasis on prevention, education, and training.
Yeah, we have. It's interesting, but we have weekly and monthly talks on prevention, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit, if it's okay with Clay, we'll talk a little bit about Obamacare, the practice.
What are we going to talk about?
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.